before the vote is taken. Republican Senator Johnny Isakson of Georgia. Great to have you here, Senator. Thanks for joining us. So 45 GOPers already say they're going to vote for this thing. It's up to 15 Democrats. Can the senator bring enough Democrats on board to make this bill a go?
I think she can. In fact, I'll make a little prediction. I think it'll be 61 votes.
Really? Well, that's a turnaround from what we've been hearing. And, of course, there's a lot at stake here in this vote. What do you think is to be gained by passing this legislation?
Jobs, economic activity, energy independence, America taking bold action, which we always should and always have in the past. The President of the United States is the only person against the XL pipeline. The State Department's approved it 5 times. Every state that it goes through has approved it. The country wants it, and we need it. We need to do it now.
So if there are 2 votes to be gained here, who will they be? What Democrats will cross the line?
I'm not going to get into naming names. I'll wait till they show it on the scoreboard.
All right, well, we'll watch for that. In the meantime, you've been on record backing this proposal, obviously. You've added your signature to letters that went to the president. You've proposed legislation. You've been behind this legislation. It's 6 years since it was originally proposed. Now it's thought that it's going to cost as much as twice as much to build. Is that something we should rethink?
I don't think, I think you need to always look and be conservative about the cost and the increase, but that cost increase is inflation and cost of doing business, which happens when you delay projects that you should do. I was a builder and developer in my private life. I know what happens when you delay. That amount of increase has been caused because of the delay of the Congress of the United States.
White House, even today, saying they don't like the legislation. Here's Press Secretary with his comments.
It certainly is a piece of legislation that the president doesn't support, because the president believes that this is something that should be determined through the State Department. As you rightly point out, there are similar pieces of legislation that have been introduced in this Congress where the president's senior advisors have recommended a veto.
So even if you do get the 60 to 61 votes, it's anybody's guess where the president's going to sign it.
Well, if he's true to his word, he's going to veto it, which I think would be a mistake, but I think we need to start calling the president's hand. He's had basically 2 years where he can pontificate from the White House and never have to cast a vote, never have to issue a veto, never have to sign a bill. It's time we started to put America's issues on the President of the United States of America's desk and let him take action.
John Boehner today, the Speaker of the House, had some interesting comments about what his analysis of the president's actions might be. Here's Boehner.
A Keystone pipeline veto would send the signal that this president has no interest in listening to the American people. It would be equivalent of calling the American people stupid.
The equivalent of calling the American people stupid, and we know from surveys that about 60% of Americans support the project. How is the president still playing to his left base and trying to prevent this project from going forward?
I think so, but I really don't understand where all that pressure is coming from, because moving that petroleum underground in a pipeline doesn't emit any carbon at all. It is the most green way you can move oil across the country. So I don't know who the president's getting his information from, but he's not listening to the State Department. He's not listening to American business. He's not listening to his country.
So if this legislation goes down, if it doesn't pass the Senate, or if the president vetoes it, what happens next?
Well, come January the 6th, there's a new marshal in town. Mitch McConnell is going to be the leader of the United States Senate. You're going to have a lot more Republican votes, and you're going to have a lot of Democrats who are going to be looking at joining us. And if the president vetoes it again, overriding his veto and making it finally happen.
I want to go over some facts about the Keystone, the number of jobs it creates. 9 times the House has voted to approve Keystone, 42,000 jobs initially. Lots of support out there in the heartland for this project. At the end of the day, what will we be missing if this legislation doesn't go through?
We'll be missing the opportunity to be an energy independent nation. We'll miss the opportunity of taking advantage of a great opportunity for our people. We will turn our cheek and turn our face and look the other way from prosperity in America. It will be the wrong thing for America not to develop the KeystoneXL pipeline.
We've already taken big steps in becoming energy independent. The U.S. now the #2 oil producer. Do we need to go further?
You know, I learned in the 1970s when I waited in gas lines to get 10 gallons worth of ration gas because the Arabs controlled all the oil supply in the world, that there's no such thing as as having too much oil and too much energy. I think it's important for us to have access to everything we can.
Senator Isakson, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.